النسوية مهمة للرجل، كتاب للكاتب الهولندي يانس فان تريخت، مترجم للعربية وصدر عن دار العربي. واحنا نستغرب لما نشوف العنوان النسوية للرجال، يعني عادة الأفكار النسوية بتبقى بتخاطب النساء مش بتخاطب الرجال، لكننا في الكتاب ده لسبب هتشوفوه لما إن شاء الله تقروا الكتاب مختار هو بشكل مقصود انه يخاطب الرجل، ان الافكار النسويه دي ممكن تبقى حاجه مهمه او حاجه تساعد الرجل ان هو يبقى عنده حياه افضل في المجتمعات العصريه. بتكلم في الكتاب عن ان ازاي ممكن نحاول ان يكون عندنا صور مختلفه ومقبوله عن الرجولة وصور مختلفة ومقبولة عن الرجل، ازاي ان الحركات النسوية قدرت انها تطرح افكار او صور مختلفة للنساء، وازاي ان ده ساعد النساء على ان هم يعيشوا بشكل افضل. وهو في الاخر بيقول ان الرجل فقد دوره في بعض الأحيان كالقوي الحامي للعيلة اللي بيصرف لوحده على العيلة، فبالتالي هو لازم دلوقتي يدور على دور آخر أو يحاول إن هو يبقى له دور آخر مهم ومفيد وممكن يكون أكتر فايدة في المجتمعات العصرية. كل الأفكار دي هنناقشها أو يعني هنحاول إننا نعرف عنها أكتر من المؤلف من خلال زوم ميتينج، وهنبدأ معاه الأسئلة واحدة واحدة وإن شاء الله الحوار يبقى مفيد وثري. So Jens van Tricht, thank you for having us and thank you for the interview in advance. So I read your book in both translations, in English and in Arabic translation. Thank you. And
thank you for viewing.
Let me start about this image of masculinity you are describing in this book. You are trying to show that there are different types or different images of masculinity. It's not only the image of the powerful, dominant, strong man who is, of course, this is the norm, the white, well-educated man who is the main breadwinner in the family. So this is the norm, or this is the image that has been enforced on us, on the societies, so that men should comply with this norm. How to raise men to comply with this norm, because I'm thinking of women contribute also to raising men. I mean, men are raised also by women and by mothers and by fathers. They are raised by female teachers and male teachers. So don't you think that women do play a role in setting this norm and enforcing this image? What do you think?
Yes. So thank you for the questions. They allow me to elaborate quite a bit. I think it's good to start off acknowledging that the reality of the lives of men in this world is really diverse and complex and sometimes contradictory, and you could even say mysterious. And I use these words on purpose because they have often been used to describe women, but it's the same as many things that are true for women are true for men. And we should not think of men as one solid kind, one monolithic block of all men that are the same. Men are young and old, men are strong and weak, men are very self-assured, but they're also very insecure. They can be healthy and they can be unhealthy. They can be powerful, they can be weak, they can be rich, they can be poor, and they can be changing over their lives and throughout the day. So actually we need to acknowledge that men are really human. And that's a radical thing to say, also to paraphrase feminism. It's a radical idea to say that men are human too, because we teach men actually not to go for the full humanness of their being, but to stop at the border of masculinity, of a very limited, narrow, normative masculinity that exaggerates a few traits, human traits that are perceived to be masculine, and that makes it taboo, that puts away all the other human traits, human qualities that men also possess. So of course men suffer from the norm of masculinity because it is dehumanizing them. It doesn't allow them to be humans. It allows them only to maneuver within a very limited idea of what their humanness can be. And it is destructive because it teaches them to be violent, not just against women and girls and other men, but also against themselves. It teaches them to suppress and hide their emotions. What can be more violent than that? It teaches them to be strong and powerful and autonomous and competitive and aggressive and dominant, but so it teaches them to take risk. And I'm not saying that all these things are only bad, but as long as they are so limited and narrow and only this and exaggerated, they cause a lot of problems for men themselves and for women and children and other men and for the world at large. And yes, women play a part in all that. Although I do think, I mean, I made a strategic choice deliberately not to focus on what women should be doing or not be doing, because there's so many people doing that, and it's not up to men to do that. There have been too many men already telling women what to do and what not to do. There's enough women deliberating with each other what they should and what they shouldn't. But there is also, I think, often made a mistake to think, oh, because women are with children most of the times and men are outdoors, women are the people who are predominantly teaching boys about masculinity. But that's not true. The main lesson boys learn about masculinity from their absent father is that men should be absent from the lives of women and children. So in their absence, fathers give a very important message about this normative masculinity. And this is what they show boys, this is what they show girls. So I think we should pay much more attention to the absent father as an important figure in child rearing. And it's also in the work with men all around the world, we see that the role of fathers, the absent role of fathers, or the socially and emotionally absentism of fathers in the lives of children and in the lives of boys is one of the key factors teaching them about masculinity as non-femininity, because this is what boys learn also from this absence, that the first thing that men should be is not feminine. Mm-hmm. They should not be where women are. They should not do what women do. So yes, I do think women play a role in this, and in practice, this is very often seen also in the lives of couples where fathers try to be more involved and engaged and play a role in the family life and in the child rearing. And then, of course, this can conflict with the role of women. And so women need to be partners in that. I agree on that. But I do think the foremost important thing to focus on is the changing role of men in masculinity.
Well, I thank you for this sentence about acknowledging that lives of men are complicated and far more complicated than we perceive. Because you mentioned in your book this example of the black man in the US society who has, or whose position in this society is far problematic or more problematic than the position of the black woman in the American society. So maybe this can help us a little bit understand that there are different images and different, lives of men that are not easy and that are not ideal, so that men can strive for. Can you shed a little bit light on that, on this difficult position of the black man in the society, and then can you maybe also explain how this black man in the society can profit from the feminist ideas? How can he has a better position if he will follow or... Please, yes.
And I think this is also worldwide, also when we look at the US, a kind of phenomenon that is actually threatening now. It seems that men like me, the white, privileged, middle-class, heterosexual men who have it all in this world, we are set now to suffer from feminism gone too far. We are emasculated by feminism. We are not allowed to be real men again. And we should retake our masculine strength and become real men again. And there's all kind of political parties, there's all kind of organizations trying to teach men to do so. And discussions about multicultural society intersect in a very toxic way with discussions about sexism. So, and in the meanwhile, we know that men of color, let's put them together like that, they are being ethnically profiled by the police. They are getting lower grades in school. They get lesser chances in their education. They don't get jobs, or they're discriminated on the labor market. So we have racial discrimination with sex or gender discrimination, and they intersect. And we work to engage men in gender justice. So we ask men of all communities to speak out against violence against women, to promote caring masculinities, to be engaged fathers.
Racism and all the problems men are suffering from intersect with problems of women as well. And I mean, in a multicultural society, you can see that the problems are not only limited to women, but also all these problems are like intersecting with each other. So let me ask you about feminists go too far, because this is something very interesting when you say that you as the white, heterosexual and well-educated men in a Western society, maybe you can suffer also, or not you, but men can suffer also from feminist ideas gone too far. So let me maybe try to think a little bit hypothetically about a partnership where the partners, the woman is maybe the most dominant part. She is the main breadwinner in the family. She has the say because she is the one who is providing the family. Don't you think in this case, this partner, this woman, wouldn't suppress her partner because she is in this relation, in this very specific relationship, the most powerful and dominant one? Just hypothetically, I mean, think hypothetically.
Yeah, I mean, no, but these things can, but let it be clear that I believe that women can do the same bad things as men can. I don't believe there is a biological difference in that sense. So given the circumstances, women can just be as bad as men, and men can be as good as women, and also the other way around, because women can also be good in the things that men are good in, and men can be good in the things that women are good in. So I believe that is very much on the circumstances. The situation that you sketch is in a way typical for the so-called crisis of masculinity, because now women can perform everything that men can. They can be breadwinners, they can have careers, they can be successful, they can make more money than men. And then somehow in the existence of men, this turns to a crisis, or this, for some men, this turns to a crisis. But well, the longer I'm working this, the more difficult I find it to understand, actually, because these men, to start with, they live in a world already where many men earn more than them, are more successful, have better careers, etc. So it's good to notice that, because in reality, all men are actually losers in this narrow definition of masculinity, because the norm tells them they have to be winners.
This comes, I'm quoting you, this comes from, this change has to take place inside us. It's not something that comes from outside, but it's something that it should be, we should change from inside. I'm a little bit suspicious about this, because I do not think that people can change like that. They want to change and they change because there are external conditions, there are external situations when they are forced to maintain the traditional and the old roles they have been playing for all this time.
Yeah.
So I don't think that wanting to change, or we want to change from inside, can enforce or can push the change, a global change, or even a social or an economic or a political change. Am I right here?
Yes, I totally agree. Of course, you're right. I think you take one quote from the book, but I've been stretching all over the book that the personal is political and they can't go without each other. So we really need change on different levels at the same time, on all levels, I would say. In Emancipator, now we're working very much with what's called the Socio-Ecological Model, that shows that if we want societal change, we need individual change, relational change between individuals, communal change within communities, organizational change within organizations, companies, etc., and institutional change.
And do you think this?
We need all those, but I do stretch the personal change, especially for those men who want to be part of the solution and think too easily about it, because saying you're a feminist or that you support feminism is still different from behaving in a feminist way.
This brings me to the question. I mean, I will here describe the maybe the situation of women who try to pursue their career, or who try to be independent and be in control of their own lives. I remember myself when I had my son. I realized that I do not want to go to work. I actually want to stay at least 2 years with my son. I want to enjoy these 2 years. I want someone to provide us, both of us, my son and myself. And I want to play this role of a mother and a housewife. I do not want to have this burden of being a mother, a housewife, being a mother, wife, and also going, I was at that time teaching at the university and then preparing the courses and teaching at the university. It was too much for me. And of course, but I had to do it because at the end, there were financial problems. We had to work, both of us, me and my partner, we had to work, both of us. So I think it's not always good to tell people that you should be in the feminist movement, you should not be always to pursue your career, but you should do what you want to do. You can choose whatever you are comfortable with. And this brings me to the question of what if men are comfortable with this role as the main breadwinner, the strong person, the powerful person. What if they are comfortable with this role? Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
Can we accept that? I mean, we can also accept that women would like to stay at home and being mothers and housewives, and we should respect this choice.
Yeah, this is a topic that comes up often. Many people say, "Oh, but I choose for my role myself," and who am I to judge what people choose in freedom, in total liberty? But of course, I have my doubts about the freedom and the total liberty. So, in the ideal world that I envision, I would like men to have the same liberty as women to say, "Oh, I would like to stay at home with the kids," or "I would like to work part-time." Thank you.
Thank you. And have a good day.
Dear readers in Egypt, Thank you for reading my book. I look forward to hearing what you like and what you don't, and maybe I can learn some lessons from your feedback. Thank you and all the best.
دي كانت الأسئلة اللي وجهناها للكاتب، وزي ما انتم شايفين هو استفاض في الكلام. ونقول تاني ان هو كمان منتظر رد فعل القراء في مصر على كتاب النسوية للرجال اللي صدر عن دار العربي، وهو نفسه كمان يتعلم منه أكتر، لأنه شايف إن استقبال الكتاب جوه سياق آخر مغاير للسياق الغربي ممكن يفيده هو شخصيا في إن هو يشوف حاجات هو ما كانش شايفها قبل كده.